just got three things to say. God bless our troops, God bless America, and gentlemen, start your engine!
Hiya folks, and welcome back. This is 8-Bit by MW Puzzles, and this is the third and final in his theme of vintage arcade / coin operated puzzles. The first in the series was Bandit, inspired by a slot machine, and the second, Pinball Wizard, obviously inspired by a pinball machine. Included with the puzzle is a really nice looking info card. I think it's the best designed of the three of the series. And on the back of it, we learn that the objective is to play 8-bit until you reach the checkered flag. Standard puzzle rules apply, such as no banging, prying, or shaking. Just like in an actual arcade racing game, there are several moves one needs to take to achieve the goal, and I've always appreciated just the real-life approach the creator has taken in his puzzles as you solve and play with them. After I solve 8-bit, stick around as I'll give my rankings on these three puzzles in categories like the hardest, the most fun. So as demonstrated before, the steering wheel does move. At the bottom, we do have a gas pedal or accelerator that you can actually press down on, which is very nice. We've got a little button-like tool at the bottom. Got a hole on this side. On the back, we have a slotted opening with some divots on the top and bottom. We have this wheel that rotates freely in either direction. We've got a power cord, which is pretty cool, that has a threaded end. And on the bottom, we've got a couple of different holes as well. But let's jump right in and solve this thing.
Solve begins in 3, 2, 1.
So you see the player's screen at the top says insert coins to continue. So what would be your first objective? Would you try and find those coins, or would you try and find something to do with this power cord? For me, this first move was the hardest by far in this puzzle. I didn't know that going in to know how much more complex it would be, but really struggled to find what the first move is. But what you want to do is you want to pay attention to the back wheel here that rotates. On the inside, there is this textured material or a textured finish. I'll put an image so you can see what it looks like more clearly. But that is very relevant because what you want to do is you want to wind the power cord around the knob here. You can either wind it around as I've done, or you can have it stretched out and just go over part of it. What you want to do is rotate the decorative finish, the inside of the knob there, and that's going to move this piece right here to open and reveal a tool. So just kind of demonstrate that. So you kind of see as I'm moving it, you can see the opening in that slotted hole there, which reveals our tool. Now I made that look very easy and simple, but again, this took me much longer than you might think, or maybe not if you've seen some of my other puzzles. But just the creative approach to how to use this cord and make something move that I never thought moved in the first place. But we do have this tool that we've got several different holes that we can try to see, is this going to be relevant to. This one on the side is too big, but we have the one on the bottom that certainly fits in very nicely. And what we can do is we can screw that in place, and when we pull down on it, this box slides out. At first I was unsure what this was, what the purpose of this was, but it turned out that this is the coin box that houses the coins of the machine. So when we pull this out, we see a plastic disc. And maybe you know what this is, maybe you don't, depending on how many arcade games you played, but this is what was known as a slug. It was a fake game piece that hooligans or ruffians would try to use to get free games. Instead of using actual quarters, they would manufacture these cheap alternatives, these slugs, and get free games out of. So kind of a cool nod to that. This is not needed in this puzzle, but it's a nice element that was included. But we have the coin box here, but in my mind, this is one of the coolest removed elements of any puzzle by MW Puzzles. I love the detail. I love the circuit. The little cable here. You've got different little pieces. Just the attention to detail is so very cool. And I just really love how well this is machined and just the mechanism of it coming out. But we have a slug. We don't have an actual coin that we need to do to insert. But if you look on the inside, you see there is the MW Puzzles coin. It's currently held in place by a magnet. You can also see the piece that when you pull out on this lowers the white knob inside, so that kicks out the coin box. But what we need to do is we need to put the coin box back in place. So I'll push this down, and now when I release it, there is the coin. And I continue to just be amazed at the level of detail that he's able to create these coins in his workshop. It's got his logo on it on both sides, and just fits perfectly with the theme of the coin operated puzzles. But we now have our coin, and what I first did was went to the coin slot. It does fit, but it does not go in all the way. You can see that when I push it in, it just pops right back out again. So it does not stay in place. That's okay, but we need to do something else with this coin. I fiddled with the coin slot for a while, not knowing what to do, but then it dawned on me that the back of the puzzle does have these inserts that a coin would fit very well into. So what you want to do is you want to take the coin, push down, and then slide it towards you, like so. And you see how this shifts down. You can do it a little bit more, but when we turn this back over, we now see the arcade playfield. And just a really cool reveal. I'll show it to you from the front so you can see what it looks like. But here it is initially, but when we slide that coin down, there is the playfield. And just, again, so very cool. I was hoping that this would happen when I received this puzzle. What I wasn't expecting, though, was the fact that we could actually move this car as we turn the steering wheel. So a very cool tactile element to this puzzle. I have the red racing cars you can see, which matches the red themed puzzle. There's also green and blue, but so far we have started the race, but we need to go forward. We need to drive forward. So what we need to do is we need to take our coin, and we're going to start on the far left with our car and steering wheel. When we push in the coin, now we're going to turn it all the way to the right. And what's going to happen is you're going to wind an internal mechanism, and there are some clicks that you can tell that you're winding it up. So once it won't turn anymore, we can release the coin and we can turn it back to the left, and that kicks out the piece that had the coin pop out initially. But what we can do now is we can press down on the gas pedal, and that will actually start the race. You can see the car start to move. Very cool element. Again, you can see we're approaching the red car, so let's go over to the right. And you can see right here there it says keep right. So a little bit of a hint, but we can go ahead and we can continue. There's, as we pass the blue car. Blue is another option that you could have the 8-bit purchased in. And we're coming up on now the green car, which is the third color in this set. So it's cool that it's cool that I got the red version of this, but there's also the green and blue as well. So I imagine that whatever color version you purchase, that would match the race car that you can maneuver. But there we go. But that's what happens after you wind up the crank mechanism and press down on the gas pedal. And we could do this 5-10 times. This same loop will happen where you have open road, you pass a blue car, a little bit of open road, you pass a green car, a little bit of open road. So we started the race, but we're still looking for the checkered flag. Now, we do have this hole on the side here. So what are we missing? There are a couple of holes still on the puzzle box. There is just one right here. And the power cord does fit into it quite nicely, and it does turn. The more you turn it, though, the harder it gets to turn, and eventually this will remove the end of the cord and get it stuck in there. So we don't want to do that. This, not sure what the purpose of this hole is, but it's not relevant to our needs at least. But we do have this hole here, which is a pretty good size and probably is relevant to a tool. So what we need to do is we need to go back to the coin box that we kind of glossed over initially. Whenever we have a puzzle like this, you always want to make sure that you thoroughly review every component, because it might not just be for show, but there might be a second use to that. So as I was playing with this red wire, I saw that it could come out just a little bit, that there was some spring action to it, but didn't know if this was the extent of it or if there was something else to it. But one of the things that I really questioned for a while is, what are the purpose of these three elements? Are these just all decorative to represent different mechanical pieces? What's going on? And as I was playing with this piece and, pulling on the red wire, I happened to have this be upside down, and when I pulled out the red wire, this little threaded screwdriver came out. So, housed in right here and just released as we pull the red wire. But now that we have a threaded tool, that made me want to check out these two pieces as well. And it fits in very well so that we can screw it in, and that allows us to release it. And it gives a nice little high-pitched popping sound, little ASMR action if you're into that. And we can do that again a third time for that other piece, and we can extend on the screwdriver that we've just created. So we can go back to the side of 8-bit, and it fits in perfectly. However, it does not get very far in. There is a piece, if you were to shine a light, you can see that this hole does not go through the side of the puzzle, and you could actually see it through this compartment in here, but you can also see that the hole is blocked off. But it is a perfect length for it to reach until this button-like object that we haven't done anything with at this puzzle at this time. And I spent a long time just trying to figure out how does this relate. So I thought, okay, well, it has to do with the race car going forward. I didn't think that there would be a finish screen that would come up or down like the start screen, just because the user might be able to skip that. But I thought, okay, we have to somehow get this to pass through this blocked hole while the race car is in motion. So if we go back and we wind up the machine and get that ready to go, what we want to do is we want to keep the car all the way to the right. And there was that sign that kind of was a hint to keep right, because this doesn't work if the car is to the left or in the middle of the road. But you want to do three things. You want to push down on the gas pedal, you want to hold down on this button, and you want to feed the screwdriver through that hole. Because at a certain point, this hole is going to open up, kind of like it did on the back of the puzzle with our first move. So I'm going to go ahead and get this in place with doing these three things. So you kind of just need to drive it for a little bit until you get to that one spot. Okay, so here it is. You kind of have to apply a little bit of pressure, or you can, what I did was I just shone a light through it initially to kind of figure out where in the track the red car had to be in relation for this to open up, because trying to do all three of these things isn't the easiest, especially if you don't know at what point the opening becomes available to slot the tool through. But I can now go ahead and I can feed this tool through, and it passes this foot pedal compartment and is able to continue on to where this button aspect is. And when I press in on the tool, that allows the button to pop out, and lo and behold, here is our checkered flag. So that is how we cross the finish line and solve 8-bit. So very cool puzzle. A lot of cool elements with the driving aspect. Again, I really, as I said before, when this came out, I really just was amazed with all that was in it, both with the design and then the tools that were hidden away, the racing element. So much fun was with this puzzle, and had a good time enjoying it, and hope you had a good time watching it. But don't go away just yet, because I do want to share with you my rankings on the 3 puzzles by MW Puzzles here. So I've got a few different categories. This is my ranking, of course, entirely subjective. If you've solved all of these 3, or if you've seen the videos on how these 3 are solved, I'm very curious to hear what your ranking is. Let me know in the comments to see what you think. But we'll start off with the best design, just going off of aesthetics, look and feel to it. For me, this was a no-brainer. This was Pinball Wizard. For me, this was the most nostalgic, the most visually stimulating. There is the interactive element with the flippers and the plunger, and it just looked very cool with the back box and a lot of cool things going to it. Moving on now, we'll go to the hardest. Even though I struggled a lot with 8-bit initially with that first move, the rest was a lot more straightforward. I wouldn't say that it was easy, but nothing in comparison to the first move. For me, the hardest, this was another no-brainer. was Bandit. After I got Bandit, I thought, I hope they don't get any harder because I struggled so much with many of these moves. On the back of it, there is this semi-reflective, semi-tint plate that you need to be able to look through to manipulate some of the mechanisms. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but there's a lot of cool puzzling to this, and there's so many things that just stumped me. There wasn't just one move where I was stuck on for a long time, it was several. So Bandit definitely is the hardest. Next category is Best Puzzling. This one was the category I struggled with the most because all three of these puzzles have so many unique elements to it. And I really appreciate the variety of elements that were incorporated. It's not the same gag over in a different shaped box or different themed box. So I don't fault you if you think that one had better puzzling than the next, because I liked elements of all three of these. But as I really wrestled with it and said, okay, the variety of steps, the complexity of steps, the number of steps, the different elements, ultimately I came down to Bandit. I wouldn't have thought that initially, but after comparing all the different moving mechanisms externally and internally, I think that Bandit had a slight edge in this category. Lastly, what was the most fun? And for me, what was the most favorite? I'm kind of lump these together, but ultimately, it was Pinball Wizard. I really enjoyed being able to see the pinball move through the machine, the different tools that you use to solve the objectives. Really made the Pinball Wizard stand out for me. If you don't know how this one is solved, check out this video. I'm putting the thumbnail up right now, but check this one out because it is very exciting with what we do with it. But thank you so much for sticking around and watching. Again, if you solved these three or you know how they're solved, let me know. What do you think in terms of best design, hardest, best puzzling, and what do you think was the best one or the most fun solve? So until next time, have a great day, everyone.